Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the August 5th City Council meeting. Could I please have Marina Garcia come forward from the Star of David Ministries for the opening prayer?
Father God, I just bless our city council today, Lord, and I just pray, Father, that you would cause them to prosper in all things, Father God, all areas of their health, their finances, their mind, Father, their body and their spirit, Lord. I just pray that they would flourish, Father. I thank you as gatekeepers of this city, Father, that your spirit would be upon them tonight, that you would give them a spirit of wisdom and of understanding, a spirit of counsel and of might, and a spirit of knowledge and of the fear of the Lord. And I pray, Father, that you would just be their advisor and their counselor into all matters this evening. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you. I'd like to call the order the August 5th meeting of the Los Banos City Council. And Chief, would you lead us in the flag salute?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Jana, could I please have roll call?
Faria.
Here.
Lewis. Here. Silvera.
Present.
Stonegrove. Belolta.
Here. We do have a quorum. Item number 4, consideration of approval of agenda. Do I have a motion? Mr. Silvera.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda as submitted.
Mr. Faria.
Second.
Motion by Silvera, second by Faria to approve the agenda as stated. All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? None carried. Public forum. Members of the public may address the City Council members on any item of interest that is within the jurisdiction of the City Council, which includes agenda and non-agenda items. No action will be taken on non-agenda items, and speakers are limited to a 5-minute presentation. Detailed guidelines are posted on the Council Chamber informational table. And when you approach the podium, please state your name and city of residence only. And if you have a cell phone, would you please turn it off or place it on vibrate at this time? Do we have anyone who would like to speak at the public forum? It's the trash talk guy.
It is.
Hey.
You guys have to bear with me. I was doing the running man and the cabbage patch with my kids earlier, so it's if you know what that is, it's pretty tiring.
Well, you look like you could run though, so it's okay.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and council members. I'm here tonight to recognize a local commercial business that is absolutely superb in their recycling efforts. These individuals have taken the extra step to help our city's efforts to meet our state-mandated diversion goal of 75%. 3 years ago, the state of California implemented a mandatory recycling program, state statute AB 341, requiring all commercial businesses that generate 4 yards of trash or more of waste and multi-family complexes of 5 units or more to have a recycling program. We, Republic Services, developed an award program that will contribute $500 to the Los Banos Unified School District for Student Scholarship Program in the name of the winning recipient. I don't see her present, so I'm going to announce it anyway. With that, I'm proud to announce our biannual Recycling Award winner for 2015 and present the award to Kathy Ballard of Baskin-Robbins. She's gone far and beyond. I mean, she's really clean with her enclosures. There's a lot between her and her husband. They really take that extra effort to make things happen. So I will take this and personally hand deliver it. So thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you. And if you'd like, if there's a time that she can make it to the City Council meeting, please invite her again, and then we can formally present it here also.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak at the public forum?
Good evening, Bertha Faria, Los Banos Chamber of Commerce.
The Los Banos Chamber has gained several new members this summer. We welcomed Paradise Tomato Kitchens with a ribbon cutting at their new facility and distribution center located on G Street in the former Lifetime Doors facility. The 140,000 square foot facility will transport sauce to destinations in the U.S. and overseas. We also welcomed Lily's Party Creations and rentpartystuff.com with ribbon cuttings, and we will welcome Surf's Up Ice Cream and Frozen Yogurt with a ribbon cutting on Tuesday, August 11th at 10 a.m., and they are located at 107 West Pacheco. There is still time to purchase tickets to the Downtown Association's Grapes, Hops, and Shops Wine and Beer Walk being held this Friday from 6 to 10 p.m. Tickets can be purchased from downtown merchants for $30 in advance or $35 at the door. You can also purchase designated driver tickets for $20 in advance or $25 at the door. Check-in on Friday begins at 6, and you can pick up your glasses, bracelets, and maps at the Chamber office. The Chamber is busy gearing up for our annual Fall Street Fair, being held on Saturday, September 19th from 8:30 to 3. We are looking for vendors of all kinds and expecting vendors of all kinds, and JC's Starstruck Karaoke will provide musical entertainment at I and 6th Streets. Applications can be found on our website or obtained from our office. We are also getting ready for the Los Banos Tomato Festival on October 3rd at the fairgrounds. This free admission event spotlights our local tomato processors and includes live music, food, games, amusements for the kids, a little Mr. and Mrs. Tomato contest, tomato tug-of-war, tomato eating contest, cooking demonstrations, and a salsa competition. This year's festival will run from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. And believe it or not, we are already thinking ahead to our downtown Christmas parade and looking for suggestions for the theme of this year's parade, which will be held on Friday, December 4th. If you have a great idea for a theme, please call, email, or message us on our Facebook page. The winning theme will get bragging rights on our page. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak at the public forum? Not seeing or hearing anyone, I will now close the public forum, and we'll go on to the consideration of the approval of the consent agenda, item 6. Items on the consent agenda are considered to be routine and will be voted on in one motion unless removed from the consent agenda by a city council member. And tonight we have
Items on the consent agenda are as follows. Check register for number 154077 through 154705 in the amount of $3,586,231.57. Acceptance of the fourth quarter investment report for 2014-2015. Request from Stone Creek Properties for the refund of the 2014-2015 special tax assessments charged to 22 parcels and to reject 13 parcels. Minutes for the June 23rd, 2015 special city council meeting. Minutes for the July 14th, 2015 special city council meeting. Street closure request from the Los Banos Chamber of Commerce to hold the annual Fall Street Fair on Saturday, September 19th, 2015 from 5:30 a.m. to 3 o'clock p.m. in the downtown area, and to close 6th Street between H Street and K Street, J Street between 5th Street and 6th Street, and J Street between 6th Street and 7th Street. City Council Resolution Number 5681, amending the contingency for Henry Miller Area Storm Drain and L Street Waterline Project to 20% from 10%. City Council Resolution Number 5682, authorizing award of construction contract for 13th Street Water Extension to JT2 Incorporated, DBA Todd Companies, in the amount of $143,750. City Council Resolution Number 5683, awarding professional services agreement to CSG Consulting Incorporated for building permit processing, building inspections, and plan check services for a period of 3 years with 2 additional one-year term extensions available at the discretion of the City Council. And the recommendation is to approve all items as submitted.
Okay. Do we have a city council member who would like to remove an item for discussion at this time? If not, do I have a motion? Mr. Freya?
I'd like to remove item F, ask that item F be removed and voted on individually, as I have a conflict of interest because my wife works for the Chamber of Commerce.
We can do that.
And with that, then, I would move to approve the consent agenda with the exception of item F.
Okay, it's been motioned by Mr. Faria to accept the consent agenda minus item F for a separate vote. Do I have a second? Mrs. Lewis?
I'll second the motion.
Okay. Mrs. Silvera, did you have a... Okay. Motioned by Faria, second by Lewis, to accept the consent agenda as stated minus item F. All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? None carried. Okay, let's go on to item F. Do I have a motion? Mrs. Silvera.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to approve item F of the consent agenda.
Mrs. Lewis?
Second.
Motion by Silvera, second by Lewis to approve only item F. All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? None carried. Okay, Council, at this time, I'd like to ask that we reopen the public forum. I see, did she leave?
Yeah, she left.
Oh.
Thank you, though. I appreciate that.
Don't let it be said that the council does not have a heart. Okay. All right, I will cancel that request. Let's go on to item 7, public hearing. If you challenge a proposed action as described herein in court, you may be limited to raising only those issues you or someone else raised at the public hearing described herein or in written correspondence delivered to the city at or prior to the public hearing. Public hearing 7A. To receive public comment and consideration and adopt a new update to the mobile vendor ordinance located in Title 9, Chapter 3, Article 36 of the Los Banos Municipal Code. Item 7A1, ordinance number 1130, amending Article 36, Chapter 3, Title 9 of the Los Banos Municipal Code relating to mobile food vending. And this is a second reading and adoption. And so let's go to Stacy for staff report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and City Council. So tonight I'm going to keep this presentation pretty brief as we got into this proposed ordinance in depth for the first reading. But I will go over the highlights, basically, of the proposed ordinance. So it is the mobile vendor ordinance. And basically, the three discussion points that have been highlighted in the staff report are private property issues, public property, and then parks. And so there's separate issues for all of those three discussion points. So just to back up a second, I want to let you know what the application requirements are currently for a mobile food vendor. First, we require a permit from the Community and Economic Development Department to operate, and this is renewed annually, and it's non-transferable. And there's certain criteria and a checklist that the mobile vendor must comply with in order to have a complete application. So it's a background check with our police department. It's proof of vehicle registration. They have to have rendering of their signage, proof of liability for $1 million. They have to have proof of insurance on their vehicle. They need to have a business license, which does include a seller's permit, which is through the Board of Equalization. They have to have photos of their vending unit, all 4 sides. They need to have a copy of their health permit and names of all their employees or operators. In addition to this, they are also required to get an ID badge for every employee that's operating. So whether they are a push cart or inside of a catering truck, each employee must have an ID card, which is attached to them, identifies that they've passed their background check and they are permitted to operate. So then the Planning Commission is the decision-making body for the initial permit, and then the Community and Economic Development Director or the designee is the decision-making authority for each renewal thereafter. And the appeal process is through the Planning Commission. So on private property, there are a couple issues that got brought up and that we discussed. First is the concentration of mobile food vendors. Currently, our ordinance requires mobile food vendors not to be located within 500 feet of a similar business. What this means is that if I have a deli catering truck. I cannot be located within 500 feet of a Chinese restaurant, food to food. So it doesn't mean if it's similar in food, it's just restaurant to basically mobile food restaurant. And the Planning Commission, based on this particular constraint, recommended to repeal this limitation, and allowing mobile food units for each 1,000 square feet of paved level area not to exceed 3 on the same parcel. And really the intent of that, as I explained last time, was more of a situation like Food for Less, which is a very large parcel, and if it met the criteria, then they could have more than just one food vendor on that one parcel. Based on our discussion, we also explained that this particular restriction on the 500-foot limitation was seen as unlawful in that it's not related to public health, safety, or welfare. So the next issue with private property are the conditions required for private property. So they have to have written permission from the property owner. They have to have restroom facilities for employees. This is actually a health code requirement that they need to be located within 200 feet of a laboratory. They are limited to commercial or industrial zones, must be located on pavement, not interfere with vehicle access or pedestrian movement. They must provide a site plan. They have to be vending, which is incidental to a primary use, so they can't be the only use on a parcel. They may not be located on a vacant parcel. They may not decrease parking area, and they must comply with the health department's requirements. So those are all requirements that are specific just to vending for private property. It goes above and beyond the criteria that I mentioned 2 slides previous to this, which has all of the application requirements. So then operational requirements. They're required to display all of their required permits at all times. The unit must be entirely self-sufficient. It must maintain the site in safe and clean condition. It must meet applicable building public safety requirements. They're not allowed to have amplified music, and it's limited. And really, what this is for private property, amplified music is not allowed because a private property vendor is going to be stationary and they're going to be vending from one permanent location, whereas if you're in public right-of-way, public property, and you're an ice cream truck vending through the residential areas, as long as you're not stopped vending, you can have amplification. So that's the difference between the two. There's no loitering that's enforced. Their wheels need to be chalked when they're stationary. There's no discharge of waste. They're not allowed to have furniture. There's no exterior storage. And they need to have the appropriate trash containment. So those are all the operational requirements for a private property. So another issue that was brought up was that the city has no process or provision for a limited one-day occasional pop-up type mobile vending. So this is the type of mobile vendor that just wants to vend for one day here and there through the city of Las Banos. They're just traveling through. And so we've provided an exception to the ordinance that would allow an over-the-counter admin permit for this type of use. It gives the opportunity for the mobile vendor to meet our criteria, so they still have to go through their background checks. They still need a business license to obtain that temporary permit. And what we've put within the code is that to not exceed 1 day per any 1 week period for a maximum of 6 per 12 months. And the Planning Commission did recommend that to the City Council. Another issue for private property is that we currently do not inspect the mobile vending unit for safety concerns such as fire inspections or units that use a gas flame for cooking. So currently we rely solely on the health department for inspections, but really that is a health and safety concern, not an equipment concern. So or an equipment inspection. So we felt that it was necessary to have an equipment inspection by our Las Banos Fire Department. and the purpose is to focus purely on equipment safety, especially those units that do have an open flame. This would not pertain to units such as an ice cream truck that have no cooking facilities on site, or even, for example, the cupcake lady probably just has refrigerators, but she does no cooking on site within her mobile unit. The other issue brought up for private property was that the current ordinance does not provide for mobile vending on private residential property solely for private catering purposes. The Planning Commission recommended to provide an exemption basically for any person having a private party in a residential zone for private catering. So you still have to meet all the criteria. The criteria is that you have to be parked on private property. You can't be out on the street. You need to be up on the driveway, up on private property. The service is limited to guests of the catered event. There's no admission charge for the attending event, and no payment required for the guests for individual orders. So using the cupcake lady as an example, if you wanted to have her over for your child's birthday party, you could do so as long as you met all that criteria and you weren't charging your guests to buy cupcakes from her. So the public right-of-way. There are certain restrictions currently right now for the public right-of-way, one of which that is being requested to be changed is the restriction of 180-day limitation for mobile vendors in the public right-of-way. The Planning Commission recommended eliminating this restriction. This really only applies to the ice cream vendors, which the discussion when this first was brought up with the original ordinance was that they were seasonal and that 180 days was sufficient so that there wouldn't be an overconcentration. However, the Planning Commission during the public hearing process did hear from the mobile vendors who requested that this particular limitation be lifted because it was a burden to them, as they still have to have a business license for a year, they still have to pay for their health permit for a year, vehicle registration, insurance, certificate of liability, all costs that they're only allowed to right now operate for 6 months. So this particular ordinance does not authorize cities to ban vending on all public streets, and the restriction must be related to public safety. So based on the vehicle code, we felt that the restriction on 180-day limitation was a burden and that it was appropriate to lift that particular limitation at this time. So the last item is parks, and we did discuss this pretty thoroughly at our last meeting, but the mobile food vending units on public property really for parks and those types of uses, there isn't an exception in the code. It's not permitted whatsoever. So it's prohibited actually within 300 feet of public parks, schools, churches, or reasonably related to public safety. And the Planning Commission recommended that the city offer an alternative location for temporary mobile food vending on public property. And as discussed at the last City Council meeting, Pacheco Park was determined to be really the only viable location. And it would be the drive lane adjacent to the northern boundary of Pacheco Park. And based on the recommendation from the City Council, only 2 mobile units will be allowed to be parked there. They are not allowed immediately before or after and during the time of a special event. And they must be temporary, subject to time, place, and manner restrictions as well. So with that, that concludes my presentation. So we're just asking that the City Council open the public hearing and then adopt the second reading of this particular ordinance.
Okay, thank you. So I will now open the public hearing. Is there anyone who'd like to comment on ordinance number 1130? Not seeing or hearing anyone, I will now close the... Do you want to come up and say, Kathy?
I just wanted to thank...
Go to the microphone. Oh, no, if it's about that, no. Okay. Okay, so not seeing or hearing anyone who would like to comment on ordinance number 1130, I will now close the public hearing, bring it back to council level, and ask for a vote. It looks like we have a question first. Mrs. Lewis.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a couple of questions, Stacy.
on the Pacheco Park usage. I'm just kind of sitting here. I don't know if I can't remember if we discussed it because it's been a little while, as to where these vendors are going to be parking. It kind of sounds like it's been left open to discretion, but I'm kind of thinking that they need to be at the most eastern part of the parking lot so that we don't have to worry about sending someone out to say, hey, you're parking in a non-authorized place, because that particular driveway only has X amount of exits to get out of there. And I certainly don't want to see a vendor parking up front at the first exit to limit people getting in.
The language is specific to the northern boundary drive aisle, right off of Pacheco, but we could add specific wording, which I don't think would significantly, the city attorney will probably chime in, that probably, actually he's chiming no, that would significantly change the ordinance, so we'd probably need to come back. Because this is the second reading, really any changes to the ordinance would require reintroducing the ordinance again.
So, Mr. Attorney, City Attorney, would we have to bring this back, or is it simple enough to just make the change?
Like I said last time, no changes can be made to the language of the ordinance after it's introduced. That particular portion of the ordinance is an admin permit, so certainly the Community and Economic Development Director and issuing the permit can designate what parking space is available. What the City Council asked us to do last time was to limit it to 2 at any one time, which is what we've done with the language, but there is no designated spot. I think that simply can be done administratively. It doesn't really need to be done in the ordinance.
I can add a condition of approval for each permit to designate that it be on the eastern side.
That would be good. Okay. And then lastly, for the inspection that our fire department is going to be doing, this is just something, again, that came to my mind. Is there any concern about how close a vendor could be parked to a business or a building that they're in the parking lot with? We've always made reference here to Food for Less, which is quite a distance between the store and where a possible vendor can park. But there are some situations where there's a pretty tight parking lot and a vendor could be very close to the existing building that's already there. So is there any concern regarding that?
I think Stacy's looking for something in the actual proposed ordinance that establishes setbacks right now.
Okay.
Let's see what she can come up with that's already written into the ordinance.
And Mr. Vaughn, you could probably point this out faster than I can. I don't know if you could jump in here.
Well, once again, the permit is an admin permit, and it's also a permit that's initially adopted by the Planning Commission, and they can designate the actual location of the mobile vending unit, and those types of concerns can be dealt with at the Planning Commission level and at the admin level if there is a concern as to the actual location. Part of the application permit requires the mobile vendor to designate the exact area they're going to be located at. I don't believe there's anything in the ordinance that indicates how close to a building it can be. But certainly, once again, it's a discretionary permit in terms of the health and safety of where it's going to be located, and that's the whole idea of the process, is to make sure that where they're located is in a safe area, both for traffic, pedestrian, and other reasons. So I think if there are those types of concerns, again, they don't have to be legislated within the ordinance, but can be dealt with at the permit issuance level.
So I will trust the staff that when a vendor comes to you, if there's a question such as a gas station or a business that might have some flammable material, that's something that we're going to alert our fire department to right away so that they can help determine what the setback shall be for that particular vendor.
Absolutely. We will consult with the fire department to make sure that the location is safe.
Okay. That's it. Thank you.
Mr. Silvera.
Yeah, so in section 9-3.3606 under location, and then on item, I believe it's 7, no, hold on a second, it's not 7. Damn it.
Basically says it's not to be placed in a...
Unsafe area.
unsafe.
Yeah, okay, very good. If there are no other further questions, Mr. Mayor, I would like to make a motion to waive the second reading of ordinance number 1130, amending Article 36, Chapter 3 to Title 9 of the Los Banos Municipal Code relating to mobile food vending.
Mrs. Stonegrove.
Second.
Okay, motion by Silvera, second by Stonegrove. I do like the fact that Tim and Stacy, that we have some administrative power over location and where things are placed, because when you write something and it's set in stone, and then you have to come back to council to approve it again, if there's a change, this way it gives you the discretion to say that you're not going to have something that in your eyes, Chief Marison, that's not safe. And so you can legislate on your own what you think the city of Los Banos should have. And Stacy, on the other hand, then as far as location, if it is a location problem, then the police chief can weigh in to make sure it's not going to be a traffic problem, or if we're going to have free flowing. So I think that's an excellent compromise. Chief.
Just wanted to add that Stacy and I currently talk on many projects regarding this exact same issue. We've had discussions in the past about mobile vendors that are currently in town. So we do have a good relationship as far as discussing safety concerns that the fire department might have on a project, and I'm sure it's just going to continue to get better with this ordinance.
Good. Thank you for the communication. It's good. Okay, so we have a motion by Silvera, second by Stonegrove. Wait a minute, you have to restate that.
Just to waive
the second reading. Yeah. Okay. All right. Waiving the second reading, again, motion by the two council members. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None carried. Okay, Mr. Silvera, let's go on to the adoption.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to adopt ordinance number 1130 as stated by title.
Mrs. Stonegrove?
Second.
Okay, roll call vote. Jenna?
Faria?
Yes.
Lewis? Silvera?
Yes.
Stonegrove?
Yes.
Balota?
Yes. Motion carried. Okay, let's go on to 7B, public hearing. To receive public comment and consideration of levying properties for weed abatement services performed during the fiscal year 2014-2015 or prior for areas of land located in the city of Los Banos, Merced County as follows. Assessors parcel numbers 025-101-006, parcel 026-082-022, parcel 027-086-009, parcel 027-161-040, parcel 027-211-001, parcel 027-211-002, parcel 027-211-003, parcel 027-211-011, parcel 430-051-067. And we'll go to Finance Director Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Tonight what we have for you is something we work on an annual basis. After the weed abatement is performed by the vendors contracted by the city, the Finance Department goes through and sees anybody who's past due, anybody who's over 90 days and hasn't paid their bill. We have the right to lien their property. And so on an annual basis, we go through and find any of those outstanding accounts. And we ask that council allow us to assess the property. And we'll send this list over to the Merced County Tax Collector. This year, we do have 9 different properties. It's a little over $3,500. As of the council meeting, none of these properties have been paid. It'll cost us approximately $53.15 to put these properties on the tax roll, And we're just asking tonight that you hold a public hearing and adopt a resolution allowing the levy and collection of assessments for weed abatement for the city of Las Vegas.
Okay. And this requires a public hearing.
Yes.
So I will now open the public hearing on City Council Resolution number 5654, authorizing the levy and collection of assessments for weed abatement within the city of Los Banos. Is there anyone who would like to speak on that subject? Not seeing or hearing anyone, I will now close the public hearing, bring it back to council level, and do I have a motion? Mr. Silvera.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to adopt City Council Resolution number 5684, authorizing the levy and collection of assessments for weed abatement within the city of Las Vegas.
Mr. Faria.
Second.
Motioned by Silvera, second by Faria, to approve City Council Resolution number 5654 as read by title. All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? None carried. Item C, public hearing, to receive public comment and consideration of a conditional use permit to allow the use of a Type 41 alcohol license for on-sale beer and wine in conjunction with an eating establishment located at 1313 East Pacheco Boulevard, Suite A, APN 026-280013, China Buffet. Okay. And let's go to Stacy.
Thank you again, Mr. Mayor. So the proposal for you tonight is a conditional use permit. It is for China No. 1 Buffet located at 1313 East Pacheco Boulevard, Suite A. They are located in the Canal Farm Shopping Center. It's highlighted for you in yellow. This particular shopping center is, it's an existing shopping center, but it has existing uses such as Save Mart, Rite Aid, Taqueria El Rodeo. They have the Rent-A-Center, Subway, the Laundromat, Teriyaki House, Elegant Nails, and Cricket Wireless. So it's an existing shopping center that already has similar uses, which operate pretty harmoniously in the area. So according to CEQA, the California Environmental Quality Act, this project is deemed categorically exempt per Article 19, Section 15301, in that it is an existing facility, and other than the request for the use of alcohol in conjunction with an eating place, no other changes are being proposed at this time. So according to the municipal code, in order to be approved for a conditional use permit, there are three criteria that must be met, and this is general criteria for every conditional use permit. One is that the proposed use and project is consistent with the City of Las Vegas' general plan and our municipal code. And the finding here, and these are important because these are the findings that the City Council would be making in order to approve this project. So the finding here is that the site is designated commercial and it is zoned highway commercial, and commercial uses such as restaurant establishments are uses that are permitted in the commercial zoning districts with the on-sale of alcohol. So two, that the proposal will not adversely affect adjacent or nearby, that the proposed use or project will not be a nuisance or detrimental to the public health, safety, morals, and comfort, and general welfare of the persons residing or working in the neighborhood of such proposed use. And the finding here is that the proposed use will be conducted within a retail shopping center and will not result in significant operational changes to the existing commercial area. And then the last general finding is that the proposed use is compatible with the adjacent uses, properties, and neighborhoods, and will not be detrimental or injurious to property improvement, to the neighborhood, or to the general welfare of the city. And the finding here that we're asking the council to make is that the proposed use will be conducted within a retail shopping center and will not result in significant operational changes to the existing commercial area. So then our municipal code goes on to state specific criteria that are specific to a conditional use permit that has alcoholic beverages. One, that the proposed that the proposal will not contribute to undue proliferation of such uses in an area where additional ones would be undesirable, with consideration given to the area's function and character, problems of crime and loitering, and traffic problems and capacity. And the finding that we're asking that the City Council make here is that, as it's stated within the staff report, the number of on-sale licenses in this particular census tract is currently 8, and the addition of one more license would not contribute to the proliferation of alcohol sales, as the on-sale of beer and wine would be in conjunction with food. This particular census tract is pretty much the entire Pacheco corridor. And there isn't an overconcentration in terms of the on sale in conjunction with an eating place. So they are widespread. This particular census tract actually runs from Badger Flat all the way down to Mercy Springs. So as you can imagine, it's a really big census tract. So 8 sounds like a large number, but in reality, in terms of restaurants, that's very minor. The second finding is that the proposal will not adversely affect adjacent or nearby churches, temples or synagogues, public, parochial, or private elementary, junior high, or high schools, public parks or recreation centers, or public or parochial playgrounds. And the finding here is that there are no such type uses in the area, and we're asking that the City Council consider the surrounding area and the nearby uses and determine that there is no evidence of adverse impacts to adjacent or nearby churches, temples or synagogues, nearby parks, recreation centers, or playgrounds. The third finding is that the proposal will not interfere with the movement of people along an important pedestrian street. The finding here is that the consumption of alcohol will only be allowed inside the premises in conjunction with food, and the use will be regulated by the city, state, and also federal regulations. So we feel that that will be significantly mitigated. And then the last finding is that where the proposed use is in close proximity to residential uses, and especially to bedroom windows, the use will be limited in hours of operation or designed operated to avoid the disruption of residents' sleep between the hours of 10 p.m. and 7 a.m. And the evidence here is that the proposed hours of operation, as stated on the application, it would start after 7 a.m. and it would end before 10 p.m. The applicant has stated that they would close before, at actually 9:30, so that would be before 10 p.m. And the consumption of alcohol is not allowed outside of the premises per the conditions of approval and city ordinance. The nearest residential window is located at least 100 feet away from the front entrance to the restaurant. So based on this consideration, we're asking that the City Council see that there is no disruption in sleep in the area. So the particular census tract that I was talking about is 23.01, and like I said, there are 8 on-sale licenses, but as described, this is a large segment of the commercial boundary in town on Pacheco Corridor. These are some photos of the restaurant. This restaurant has been operating in the city for many years, and there have been no issues with crime and loitering from this particular restaurant. El Rodeo has the same type of alcohol license, which is just within the same shopping center, and there are no issues there as well. So with that, staff is asking that the City Council consider adopting resolution number 5685, which would approve conditional use permit number 2015-07 for the on-sale of beer and wine in conjunction with food at 1313 East Pacheco Boulevard, Suite A. And that concludes my presentation. I'm here to answer any questions as well as the applicant.
Okay, why don't we go to the public hearing first? And is there anyone who would like to comment on either City Council Resolution number 5686, approving the general plan amendment to... Oh, it's the wrong one. Or am I the wrong one? Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped over one. A comment on City Council Resolution number 5685, approving conditional use permit number 2015-07 for the on-sale of beer and wine for China Number 1 Buffet located at 1313 East Pacheco Boulevard, Suite A. So anyone who'd like to comment on City Council Resolution Number 5685? Not seeing or hearing anyone, I will now close the public hearing, bring it back to council level, and do I either have questions or motion? Mr. Faria?
If there are no questions, I would make the motion to approve City Council Resolution Number 5685, approving conditional use permit number 2015-07 for the on-sale of beer and wine for China One Buffet, located at 1313 East Pacheco Boulevard, Suite A.
Okay, Mr. Silvera.
Second.
Motion by Faria, second by Silvera, to approve City Council Resolution Number 5685. All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? None carried. Okay, let's go on to item D. Public hearing to receive public comment and consideration of the General Plan Amendment 2015-02 and Zone Change 2015-02 for Calnick Incorporated, or LLC, for one parcel currently designated medium-density residential to neighborhood commercial, and to rezone the same property from low-density residential R1 to neighborhood commercial CN for the property located at 745 West J Street, APN 027-094-005, and we will go to Assistant Planner Elms. Oh, it's not on? There we go.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So the proposal tonight that we're looking at is for 745 West J Street. It's a general plan amendment and a zone change. The general plan amendment is to redesignate land use from medium-density residential to neighborhood commercial, and a zone change to rezone property from R1, which is low-density residential, to CN, which is neighborhood commercial. The property is located here in this area on the corner of Maryland Avenue and West J Street. It's highlighted for you in yellow. It previously was used as a admin building for the state, or actually it was a federal admin building, so it wasn't a state building, but it has not been used for several years. This is the zoning map, and these are the zoning uses that surround this particular property. So currently, right now in yellow, you see low-density residential, which is R1. Across the street in that fuchsia pink color is professional office, and then to the west is neighborhood commercial. That is currently the location of Dr. Emerson's eye medical center, and on the north side and on the fuchsia side, that's Golden Valley Health Clinics is located there. So there are medical uses that surround this, which would be consistent with professional offices. And then this particular building is adjacent to the United Methodist Church, which is just to the east of this, which is also zoned R1. However, churches can go in any zone, so they've been there operating and are considered a conforming use. And then just adjacent to this particular property, south of it, there are 3 single-family residential uses, but they've been operating, or excuse me, they've been zoned there and have been residential uses for many years and have been in coexistence with this particular admin building for many years. So it all has operated harmoniously for years there. So we're just asking that the City Council at this time take a non-conforming use, which is not permitted in the R1 zoning district, and then create it into a conforming district, which would be neighborhood commercial, which does allow for professional offices. So the environmental analysis in this particular project, it is deemed categorically exempt per Article 19, Section 15301 of the California Environmental Quality Act, and that it is an existing facility. The applicant is not proposing any changes to the facility at this time. Actually, they've gone through and demoed. There was a fire a couple years ago in there, and they've gone through and demoed and rehabbed the building quite nicely. And I think currently right now they're at the stage of painting, but they've been in the process of rehabbing for the last several months. And it's been pending the approval of this particular general plan amendment and zone change in order to confirm that it can be used as professional offices. So the existing setting in the area, there is one existing structure that is still there that's standing. It's been vacant for several years, as I previously stated, and it is considered pre-existing non-conforming. So basically, because it's not a residential use, single-family dwelling, it is considered pre-existing non-conforming. What that means is, should an act of God happen, this particular parcel would need to be rebuilt in conformance with the zoning code. That means a single-family residential house would have to be built there, which on this particular parcel is not quite conducive to the parcel. And then using that pre-existing building that is there as a residential dwelling is also not conducive to the building. It does not suit itself well for a single-family residential home. So the best use for this property would be to rezone and create a professional office type setting. And it is no longer grandfathered. So if the applicant would want to put in a particular business or some type of office there, it would not be permitted in this particular zoning district because it's not a residential use. So in order to get past that, they would need to change the zoning as they're applying for. And it does need to be brought into conformance. So city staff does support this particular request as it removes the sun blight from the area with the rehabbing of the building, and it conforms to the surrounding uses. We have Dr. Emerson, as I stated, to the west, and we have the Golden Valley Health Clinics to the north. We have the hospital. We kind of have those medical uses around it. But even to the southwest of this, we do have some type office admin type uses as well there. We have Western Valley Insurance. We have DMV, even south of that. So this particular area would conform with this particular use that's being requested. So this is the building, and this is a Google Earth image, and I just wanted to show you what it looked like before. I apologize, I don't have any recent pictures, but this is as the building was vacant and what it looked like for many years. And already, if you drive past this particular building, you can see that the new property owners are trying to rehab the building. They've gone through and painted. As I said, they've removed the burned portions of the building. They have a building permit to do so, and they have been working with the city under the building code to create a building that is in conformance. This is the building looking at it from Maryland. That previous slide was looking at the building from West J Street. So from Maryland, you can see there is a parking lot, which would work very nicely for an office type setting. So compatibility with adjacent uses, the analysis that was done here is that the existing structure is designed for administrative office space. As I said, it's not conducive for residential purposes, and the existing neighborhood commercial land uses to the west would be conducive here, and medical offices to the north. So the proposed uses that we're asking for with the general plan amendment and the zone change would work nicely in this area. So with that, public comment, public hearing notices were published in the Las Vegas Enterprise on July 24th, and then notices were mailed to the property owners within 300 feet of the project site. And as of today's date, no comments have been received. So with that, staff is recommending that the City Council provide a motion of intent to adopt resolution number 5686 to approve the general plan land use amendment, and then waive the first reading and introduce ordinance 1132 by title to rezone the property at 745 West J Street. And then lastly, provide a motion to continue the public hearing to August 19, 2015 for the second reading of the ordinance. That concludes my presentation, and I'm here to answer any of your questions.
Stacy, could you give us just broad examples of really what could go in there besides professional offices? I mean, like a gas station couldn't go in there, or a convenience store?
No, in your staff report, according to section 9-3.1102, it lists all the uses that are permitted in the neighborhood commercial zoning district.
I mean, for the public. I mean, if you could just tell them, yeah.
So food stores, drug stores, these are really all neighborhood oriented. The intent is that the neighborhood could walk to these types of uses and that it would serve the particular area that it's located. So variety stores, hardware stores, shoe repair shops, bookstores, gift shops, stationery stores, music stores, flower shops, specialty shops, beauty shops, barber shops, cleaning and laundry agencies, including coin-operated business and professional offices, which that's the highlighted use here that the applicant is looking for, pet shops, real estate offices, insurance offices, bookkeeping offices, public schools, delicatessen, specialized food stores and coffee shops, bake shops employing no more than 4 persons on the premises, church, public utility distribution and transmission line towers and poles, and underground facilities for the distribution of gas, water, communications, and electricity. That's a use that's actually permitted in pretty much every zoning district except for residential. And then there's reverse vending machines, and what that is a recycling type of facility, which the state of California encourages that cities locate that in all commercial zoning districts, but it need to meet the criteria of a reverse vending machine, which is not even as large as a small recycling facility, which is only to allow 1 bin. To compare this, it would be like a donation bin, although that would follow under a different ordinance and a different criteria. But if I were to compare what the size is of a reverse vending machine, it would be like that.
So could a convenience store have gas facilities located there?
A convenience store, if it meets the criteria of a variety store or hardware, a convenience store is not appropriate in this particular zoning district. It would be more appropriate in the highway commercial zoning district, or even a more intense, like a general commercial zoning district. In the neighborhood commercial district, it's not a very good fit unless it met specific, it was either was a food store, a drug store, a variety store. So it need to meet those specific criteria to even be allowed in this district.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that somewhere down the road someone doesn't come and say, we want to put gas pumps.
Absolutely. So to describe our layers of our zoning code, neighborhood commercial is really the most least intense of all of our commercial uses. And so to build on top of it, it's like a cake, so you're just building more intense layers on top of it. This particular zoning district is very light. As I mentioned, it's just to serve the neighborhood, nothing beyond that.
Okay, so the answer would be no.
No.
Okay. I could have just had a no and been happy. Okay. All right. That's my question. Does anyone else have any questions? Okay. All right. Let's, and this requires a public hearing also, is that correct? Yes. Okay. All right, so I will now open the public hearing. Is there anyone who would like to speak on City Council Resolution number 5686, intent to adopt, or ordinance number 1132? We'll all read them just to be official. City Council Resolution number 5686, approving the General Plan Amendment 2015-02 for a property located at 745 West J Street, more specifically identified as Assessor's Parcel number 027094005. Ordinance number 1132, amending the official zoning map by rezoning property located at 745 West J Street from low-density residential R1 to neighborhood commercial CN. And we have 3 motions to accomplish tonight. So is there anyone who would like to speak in the public hearing at any one of those? Yes.
Yeah, Mark Oreca, representing Camnick LLC. I'm just here if anybody has any questions.
Anyone have any questions of Mark? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak? Not seeing or hearing anyone, I will now close the public hearing, bring it back to council level, and we'll deal with number 1 first. Do I have a motion? Simple motion on that. Mr. Freya.
I'll move to adopt City Council Resolution Number 5686 as read by title.
Do I have a second? Mrs. Silvera.
I'll second.
Okay, motioned by Faria, second by Silvera, to adopt City Council Resolution Number 5686. All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? None carried. Now let's go on to, back to Mr. Faria for ordinance number 1132.
I move to waive the first reading of ordinance number 1132 as read by title.
Mr. Silvera?
Second.
Motion by Faria, second by Silvera, to waive the first reading of ordinance number 1132. All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? None carried. Mr. Faria?
I'll now move to introduce ordinance number 1132 as read by title.
Mr. Silvera?
Second.
Motion by Faria, second by Silvera for the introduction of ordinance number 1132. Roll call vote, please.
Faria?
Yes.
Lewis? Silvera?
Yes.
Stonegrove? Yes. Belalta?
Yes. Okay. Appointment of commission members for the following. The,
She wanted a motion to continue the public hearing. Stacy? Did you want a motion to continue the public hearing as well?
okay, is this new? Okay. All right. Let's go back to Mr. Freya.
There we go.
Okay.
I would move to continue the public hearing to, on item D, 7D, 1 and 2, to Wednesday, August 19th.
Mr. Silvera.
Second.
Okay, motion by Freya, second by Silvera, to continue the public hearing to a date specific, August 19th. 19th?
19th.
19th. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Any opposition? None carried. All right. We just want to make you happy.
Thank you.
Mr. Attorney. All right, we made you happy. Okay, let's go on to item 8. Appointment of commission members for the following. Item 8A, Parks and Recreation Commission, 2 vacancies, 1 term expiring December 31st, 2015, and 1 term expiring December 31st, 2016. And for the December 31st, 2015, I would like to make the motion to, for the approval of Eduardo Sandoval. And Eduardo, are you here this evening? Raise your hand right there. Okay? And so that's my motion. Do I have a second? Mr. Silvera.
Mr. Mayor, I'll second.
Okay. It's been motioned by the mayor, second by Mr. Silvera for the approval of Eduardo Sandoval for the term expiring December 31st, 2015. All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? None carried. Now, the term expiring December 31st, 2016, I'm making the recommendation that Refugio Lamas, Refugio, wait, right there, okay, be appointed to the term expiring December 31st, 2016. So that's my motion. Mrs. Stonegrove, do I have, you have your light on?
Second.
Okay. Motion by the mayor, second by Mrs. Stonegrove to appoint Refugio Lamas as the term expiring December 31st, 2016. All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? None carried. Now let's go on to Airport Advisory Commission, 1 vacancy, term expiring December 31st, 2015. I'd like to bring forth the name of Dennis Reed. Dennis is not here this evening. So with that, do I have a second? Mrs. Lewis?
Second the motion.
Okay, motioned by the mayor, second by Mrs. Lewis, to appoint Airport Advisory Commission, 1 vacancy, term expiring December 31st, 2015, in the name of Dennis Reed. All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? None carried. All right. Let's go on to item 9, advisement of public notices, and we have 2 reports.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So the first public hearing notice is amending condition number 17 of conditional use permit number 2014-09. And this is the, if you can recall, was the Mi Barrio Food and Gas Mart conditional use permit. The request is specifically for condition number 17 that we remove the restriction of the 3-pack, selling beer no smaller than a 3-pack. So this will be going to the Planning Commission August 12th at 7 p.m. And then based on the Planning Commission's recommendation, that will be coming up to the City Council at a future date. And then the next public hearing is for the proposed ordinances of block parties, farmers markets, and our zoning code appeals ordinance. This actually came about right now through the Planning Commission. We're working through a special events ordinance, and block parties and farmers markets, a certain section there, as well as the zoning code appeals, all came about because of a discussion that we had with the Planning Commission regarding our appeal process in our zoning code. Right now, there's a lot of inconsistencies. It's not standardized. Each ordinance has its own appeal process. So in going through that, we wanted to standardize that, clean that up. We also wanted to create a specific section for block parties, its own ordinance with its own criteria. So the Planning Commission will be reviewing all of those ordinances also on August 12th, and they will be making a recommendation to the City Council.
Okay, thank you. Let's go on to item 10, and tonight we have in place of Mr. Kerrigan, the new and improved city manager, temporarily, Sonia Silva. Okay?
Yes.
Williams.
That's okay. Thank you, Mayor. Tonight I'd actually like to take this time to ask Chief Marison to give us an update on the current strike team assignments.
Thank you, Sonia. Just wanted to give you, council members, an update. We originally sent 2 engines to the fire up in North Fork, the Willow Fire up there. We sent the local government engine, which the city of Los Banos owns that engine, and we staffed it with our firefighters. And then 4 days later, they requested that we commit our OES engine to the same fire to do structure protection up in those smaller neighborhoods around North Fork. That fire, I'm happy to report, was contained enough last weekend for them to release both of our engines with the strike teams that they were with. One of the strike teams that our local government engine with had a couple of equipment failures on 2 of the engines that went with them, so they disbanded that strike team and sent our equipment back. Thankfully, none of the equipment failures was with our engines, but those firefighters are back home with their families now. The OES strike team was also released from that incident and immediately reassigned to the Lightning Complex up in Shasta, Trinity counties, outside of the community of Hayfork, which is west of Redding. Speaking to the captain that's on that engine this evening, they've been doing a number of different assignments. There's 40 fires in that Lightning Complex that they're at right now, totaling about 26,000 acres. They are actually some days staffing fire stations that have no equipment or manpower left in Northern California, so they're running in the communities that those stations are supposed to protect. Our firefighters are taking care of that workload for them. Today they were actually assigned to a smaller fire and was working on punch and hose line in for containment. So they're very active, very busy. The weather's cooperating. If you'll see, they are containing a lot of the smaller fires up north, even the big one. They're up to 30% containment due to the weather that has moved in the last 2 days. So hopefully we'll see them back in the next week.
Anything else?
No, that's all.
Okay, thank you. All right, let's go on to item 11. City Council member reports, and tonight we'll start with Mr. Silvera.
I just had one thing for tonight. Myself and a few of the other council members and the mayor last night attended the National Night Out I called Celebration that we hosted, and forgive me, Chief, but I can't remember the name of the park, but it's out there on San Luis and Ward Street. it was really cool. It's the first time I've attended one of them. Want to thank Eric from Republic Services. They had a little raffle drawing for anybody and everybody that came out there, and Republic Services donated a 40-inch flat screen television to the winner, and there was some cool bobbleheads that they gave away, Buster Posey bobbleheads, and we had our very own MC, Chief Breezy, out there, who was having a blast and having dance-offs to win prizes, and thank Target for everything that they did, and all the volunteers that were out there, all the different agencies within the city, fire department, police department, Public Works was out there, Parks and Rec, everybody. It was a cool community event. Everybody seemed to really enjoy themselves and have a good time. I enjoyed myself, and we couldn't have asked for better weather. So, great job on a very successful event. And Chief said it last night, and it's, this is our town, these are our neighborhoods, and we need to let the bad guys know that we're not going to go lightly, that we're still fighting to keep our neighborhoods safe. So, good job on it, Chief, and good job on everybody that was involved in it. Thank you.
Okay, let's go on to Mrs. Stonegrove.
I have nothing for this evening.
Okay. Glad you made it. Sorry about the traffic. Okay. Okay, let's go on to Mr. Freya.
Thanks. They had the night out last night, very nice. It was nice to see Super Pup come out of the closet. If you haven't seen Super Pup, he's an old puppy with a cape, costume that we have to reach out to the children. And as soon as you reach out to the children, then they understand that the police department, public safety are their friends, and they'll grow up feeling that way. So that's a big step in taking back the neighborhood. Thanks for barbecuing the hot dogs. And Foster Farms, I understand, donated the hot dogs. I want to thank them. Target donated all those toys, and of course Republic with their TV. So thank everybody for coming out. It was a beautiful evening. Thanks for inviting us.
Thank you. Mrs. Lewis.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd also like to thank the Chief of Police, our fire department, and all the departments that were out last night at the National Night Out. It really was a great time. This was my 4th time attending this celebration, and it's always good to see the children enjoying themselves and having fun, and the parents out and just feeling comfortable in the neighborhood. I just want to let the chief know that I enjoyed the beach ball for a short moment when I brought it home, but my dog punched a hole in it in about 2 seconds, so it deflated immediately. But she does love the Frisbee, and she's learned to bring it back to me already, so thank you for that. I'd like to congratulate the new commissioners, Mr. Sandoval and Mr. Yamez and Mr. Reed, who's not here this evening. I'm sure all 3 of you will do a great job for the city as you sit as commissioners. And with that, Mr. Mayor, I think that's it.
Thank you. Okay. Again, the National Night Out, many council members have mentioned that. It was a lot of fun. We hope to do more outings like this because the public really gets involved. And one good thing that I saw that came out of this after is that another group was having a party in conjunction with this, and they organized a neighborhood watch group. And it was on Santa Monica Street, and I attended that meeting, and I'm really glad I did because they came up with some good ideas, and they want to make sure that their neighborhood is safe, so they're organizing the neighbors. And I would encourage other neighborhoods to do that. You can contact Chief Breezy. He will assign an officer to you for your neighborhood watch to come over and explain Neighborhood Watch and how you can organize to watch out for your particular neighborhood. It's a great idea. I don't care if we hire 100 new police officers, we can't have a police officer at every house on every street. So by organizing the Neighborhood Watch, what's going to happen is that we're going to have more eyes on the ground to call if there is an incident, and then we can dispatch someone. So we need your help. We've mentioned this for years, but I don't think people are taking this seriously to organize their streets to help watch and safeguard their neighborhood. Because if you have someone watching your house, and I don't care what town you live in the state of California or the United States, you have a lot better chance of just having, again, communication between your neighbors, camaraderie, and then having an extra pair of eyes on your house. So I'm going to leave it up to you. You need to organize neighborhood watches. It only takes one person in a neighborhood to do it. We will then dispatch a police officer to you for your neighborhood watch meeting so we can help you organize. I think the council members would love to attend more neighborhood watch meetings, so please invite us also. So we'll see if this takes, and if it does, I know it's going to help the police and fire department immensely. Watch out for each other. And the National Night Out was just another way to bring families, kids, and parents together for a good time. And again, we'd like to do more of these activities. It takes just a tremendous amount of people power in order to organize these events, because if they aren't organized correctly, then people go away feeling like, the city didn't know what it was doing, or you just threw something together. But that wasn't the case last night. It was well organized, and people just had a great time. So thank you to city, the public and private, and commercial ventures who all came together to make this a successful time. The Grapes, Hops, and Shops, if you can't, are there tickets still left, Bertha? Okay, we still have tickets left, and I think you'd have a great time on Friday night for the Downtown Association putting on this event. So if you'd still like to come, please contact. You can go to the chamber office, and they'll tell you which businesses are selling the tickets. Okay, I see Mrs. Ballard finally came back again. Jesus. Well, I tried to open up a special public forum for you, but you disappeared. So, Eric, would you just come up and represent that certificate to her? Now you put it in the car.
All right, we'll do a fake award here. And I just want to appreciate your efforts in recycling, and we're coming a long way in this whole program. I just want to thank you tremendously from a city standpoint and from Republic Services. Thank you for helping us meet.
And I couldn't have done it without your help in organizing.
Thank you.
2 stores.
Thank you very much. And you did an awesome job. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for coming back. Okay, so that covers, let's see, I think we're good. So, council members, any other comments? Okay, with that, I will adjourn the city council meeting at 8:16.